when I was asked to speak tonight, it was very easy for me to think of who I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about someone in history who had directly influenced me, and that was Madam C.J. Walker. And most people have heard of Madam Walker, and some of you may know that I own a hair product company, and so Madam Walker was somebody who I've always looked up to. But I have also looked up to Georgie Johnson. Now, how many people have heard of Johnson Products Company? Okay. Now, how many people know that there's two Johnsons in Chicago? All right, there's Johnson Products Company, the makers of Ultra Sheen, Afro Sheen, and Ultra Sheen Cosmetics. And that's who I had the pleasure of working with Georgie Johnson. And Johnson Publishing Company are the publishers of Ebony and Jet. And I also got to know those Johnsons, which one day I'll write a book about that. But in thinking about these entrepreneurs who have inspired me, I thought about the lessons that I've been learning here at Arise. I thought about learning about being in line with your purpose. And also Pastor Ron talked about identifying what your gifts are. Then we've learned about faith, and we've learned about things people have gone through, great struggles, and they have overcome. So in thinking about that, I realized that so many entrepreneurs coming up out of the African American community have gone through quite a bit to rise up. So starting with Madam C.J. Walker, who could tell me one fact that they know about Madam Walker? Everybody knows something about Madam Walker. Yes. Millionaire. Yes. First woman millionaire.
Her real name was Sarah Breedlove.
Yes.
She did the pressing comb.
Yes. Anyone else? Okay.
Her first business was washing and cleaning clothes for the white community.
Yes, absolutely. Very good. Madam Walker was born just right after slavery ended. And she had siblings that were born in slavery. Her parents had been enslaved. So I just wanted to let you know a couple of things about her. She was orphaned at 7, married at 14. She was a mother at 17 and widowed at 20. She died at the age of 51 in 1919. Now, between the time of being widowed at 20, yes, she took in washing to make ends meet. And while she was being a washerwoman, she started to lose her hair. And that's when she developed some products to help restore the hair. Now, most people believe that she invented the hot comb. That actually is not true. She took the hot comb and she marketed the hot comb. She developed a hair ointment that you use with the hot comb so that you didn't burn all your hair out. That's what she actually was the creator of, that ointment. But what is so exciting to me about Madam Walker, if you think about somebody at the turn of the century who could start off with no money, no education, and build the type of business that she built. When at the height of her business, she had 20,000 representatives selling her products throughout this country. That is an amazing thing. At the time of her death, her estate was worth $600,000. In today's money, that would be $6 million. So if you think about coming up out of slavery, being able to build a business, have 20,000 people working for you, and be able to have an estate at the time of your death that's worth $6 million. So what does that say to us about her? It says that she overcame so many obstacles. She was a widow. She had to raise her children. And the other thing, she also had racism that she had to deal with during those times. And she had sexism. Because even within the African American community, a woman still was not looked upon as somebody who could run a business. Madam Walker used to go to a convention every year that Booker T. Washington used to hold. And for 4 straight years, they would not let her speak. As successful as she was, because she was a female, she did not get an opportunity to participate in those meetings that they had. Now, it got to the point where she was so successful and she was so determined, she kept coming anyway. And finally, one year, they had to let her speak. And once they let her speak, it was all over. Because she was the smartest person in the room. But she also was politically astute. So she was an organizer politically. She was financially successful. And let me just tell you, the way that Madam Walker lived, the level that they lived on, her and her daughter, they had bought a place in Harlem, New York, and they entertained all the people during the Harlem Renaissance, would come over to their house, and they would have grandiose parties where Langston Hughes was there, and this one. Everybody was at their parties, and they were fabulously wealthy to the point where they had the fanciest cars, they had the jewels, but somewhere along the line, we have dropped the ball on this legacy. Madam Walker was able to make this amount of money because she sold personal care products to her own community. Somewhere along the line, we stopped buying products from each other. George E. Johnson, the founder of Johnson Products Company, he is from Mississippi. Now, he was born in 1927. George E. Johnson did not finish high school. He went in 1954, can you imagine, and took out a loan for $250. Then he got another $250 from some friends. He started Johnson Products Company. He started marketing hair care products. When Johnson Products was sold, it was sold for $61 million. This is a man that never finished high school. He used to take his products and give it to the Pullman porters to take to the different cities for him. He had an old beat-up car, and he would go beauty shop to beauty shop and sell his products. Now, I actually worked at Johnson Products Company, and I was able to be in a building that had hundreds of African-American people that were employed. There was a factory, there was a sales staff, there was the marketing department, but guess what? Johnson Products Company is not there anymore. Okay, and the reason that we are losing this legacy is because we are not recycling our dollars back into our community. Madam Walker was able to make that money selling personal care products. George E. Johnson was able to make that money, and guess what? He employed people in our community. Those jobs are now gone out of our community. Johnson Products is now owned by L'Oreal. So I felt compelled to share a little bit with you about some entrepreneurs. And I just want to say, you know, when people say Johnson, they always think about the other Johnsons that own Ebony and Jet. And I did also know John Johnson, who owns Ebony and Jet. And I just wanted to say a little bit about him, that he started the Negro Digest in 1942. He also took out a loan for $500. So both of these men on $500 built multi-million-dollar companies. Johnson Publishing has been on the Black Enterprise list been #1 on that list at least 4 times, having revenues of over $100 million. So he was able to take Ebony and Jet and parlay it into an empire. Of course, they own Fashion Fair, and they have many other holdings at this point. And he's passed that on to his daughter.